Governor Ron DeSantis just saved Florida with this major win. And the media's freaking out because they swore it would never happen. They called it a stunt, a waste of money, and said he'd never pull it off. But guess what? He did. In this video, I'll show you why DeSantis got over $500 million to protect Florida citizens, why one state ignored calls for help when federal agents got jumped, and why a country across the Atlantic is now arresting people for waving their own flag. And it could happen here too. Let's jump in. Now, if you've never heard of Alligator Alcatraz, here's what it is. It's Florida's first state-run immigration detention center built to handle the surge of illegal immigrants flooding in through the southern border and even showing up in Florida waters. Think of it like a high-security processing hub where people are held, identified, and either sent back or handed over to federal custody. It's tough, it's secure, and it's 100% run by the state. A spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security just confirmed that Florida did submit a FEMA reimbursement request after building Alligator Alcatraz. And right before the government shut down, the state got approved for the $608 million reimbursement. The governor's office says the money covers the construction and management of both Alligator Alcatraz and Deportation Depot, another state-run immigration center in Sanderson. And Florida's not done yet. A third facility's already in the works, and state officials are calling it the Panhandle Pokey. So remember when every news outlet was mocking DeSantis for building that massive immigration detention center? Calling it a political stunt and saying he'd never get the money back? Yeah, about that, turns out he was right again. While the media was busy saying DeSantis was wasting money and chasing headlines, he quietly pulled off one of the biggest state reimbursements in years. That's leadership, taking bold action, getting mocked for it, and then getting paid for being right. But here's the big question. Why do we need any of these detention centers in the first place? Well, Democrats used to say this about illegals. Here's Bill Clinton.
Not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
Back then, they were talking about securing the border, stopping illegal crossings, and protecting American jobs. Pretty normal stuff, right? But then in 2020, everything flipped. The same party that said illegal immigration is wrong suddenly decided it was a good thing. And Biden ran on it.
Should undocumented immigrants arrested by local police be turned over to immigration officials?
No. In the first 100 days of my administration, no one will be deported at all. From that point on, the only deportations that will take place are commissions of felonies in the United States of America.
So to be clear, only felons get deported and everyone else gets to stay?
Yes.
And then this happened.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
That's when Democrat politicians started putting illegal aliens ahead of U.S. citizens, offering free health care to people who broke the law to get here while taxpayers got stuck paying for it. Since then, Biden's let in over 20 million illegal immigrants in just 4 years. And here's the part nobody talks about. Nearly 300,000 migrant kids who crossed the border are now missing. Biden's Department of Homeland Security didn't even enroll 233,000 of them in immigration court. That means no hearings, no follow-up, nothing. They just vanished. To put that in perspective, I live in St. Petersburg, Florida. Population's about 266,000. Now, imagine if every single person in this city disappeared and the government had no clue where they went. That's what we're talking about. Illegal or not, these are kids, and the government just lost them. The media should be screaming about this every single day, but they're not, and they won't. Now, for the people who cross the border on foot through South and Central America, the Red Cross was literally handing out maps to help them reach the US border. And while Biden was pretending everything was under control, his administration quietly handed out over $6 billion in federal grants to UN-linked NGOs or non-government organizations. These weren't charities handing out bottled water. They were full-on operations setting up housing, processing paperwork, arranging transportation, and moving people deeper into the US cities. All of it funded by your tax dollars. But why? Here's what borders are. Tom Homan said about it.
Why did they release people into the interior of the United States and put them, rather than put them into an ice bed? Why not put them in an empty ice bed at $127 a night rather than in a hotel room at $500 a night? They did it on purpose. Because when you put them in ice detention bed, they get a hearing in 35 days. Court records show 9 out of 10 people claim asylum, get order removal, they're gone. But if you release them and put them in a hotel room at $500 a night, their hearings could be 5, 7, 9 years if you pull out all appeals. And what are they hoping for then? That another Democrat administration is in power. They can award an amnesty to millions. This is about selling this country off for future political power. That's what it was. The law clearly says if you arrive at our border without proper documentation, you shall be detained. Not maybe, not think about it, shall. And that's what President Trump's doing. Catch and release is over. That's what the law says, and that's what we've done.
But the Biden administration didn't stop there. They took it a step further. They started flying people in. The program's called CHNV Parole for Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. It launched in early 2023 as a so-called humanitarian parole system. If someone had a US-based sponsor and passed a basic background check, they could skip the border completely and fly straight into the US. Up to 30,000 people a month, and by the end of 2024, more than 530,000 had flown in through that one program alone. Fast forward to June 2025, under Trump 47, guess how many illegals were released into the interior? 0, not one. He shut it down overnight. And out of those 20 million that came in under Biden, we still don't know who most of them are. They destroyed their passports at the border before crossing. They could be drug traffickers, gang members, or terrorists. Nobody knows because they were never checked and vetted. So when you finally find and arrest them, you need a place to put them. So even if Florida could arrest 10,000 a day, you need facilities to hold and process them for deportation. That's why Alligator Alcatraz, Deportation Depot, and the upcoming Panhandle Pokey exist. If DeSantis hadn't stepped in and stepped up to protect Floridians from illegal criminals, Florida could be in complete chaos right now. And illegals invading countries and politicians inviting them in wasn't just a United States problem. It's still happening all around the world. Look at what's going on in the UK right now. The UK, or United Kingdom, is made up of 4 countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. And it's run by a prime minister and parliament. Right now, that prime minister is Keir Starmer. They've been dealing with the same mess we saw under Biden and Kamala: open borders, record numbers of people coming in, and the government using taxpayer money to provide food, housing, and healthcare to illegals while British citizens suffer. Sound familiar? The UK's also gone soft on crime when it comes to illegals, just like a few states and cities are doing here in the US. So this is all out of the same global playbook. You'd think the news would be reporting about this too, right? Wrong. But you can go on X and see all the evidence. British citizens have had enough. They're peacefully protesting in the streets, waving their own flag, the Union Jack, outside migrant hotels and in city centers, and police are arresting them because flag waving is being treated as provocation or unauthorized protest. This is insane. Waving your own country's flag gets you arrested. And it gets worse online. People are getting arrested for Facebook posts that make someone feel uncomfortable. Not threats, not crimes, feelings. If you share a spicy meme or repost somebody else's comment and somebody gets offended, you can get arrested under communications or public order offenses. The hypocrisy is obvious. The government avoids arresting illegals or gives them ridiculously minimal sentences for horrible crimes. But they have no problem cuffing citizens for a flag or a Facebook share. Law-abiding people are watching their neighborhoods turn more violent overnight, so the only option they have is to protest, and the state punishes them for doing it. That's why the protests keep growing. And when chaos hits, governments always step in and start taking away freedoms in the name of safety. Back in 1755, Benjamin Franklin said this: Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. That means if you let the government take away your freedoms in the name of safety, you're going to lose both. So guess what Prime Minister Keir Starmer decided to do in the name of safety?
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
Starmer is selling it as protecting freedom and stopping illegals from taking the jobs of citizens. But the illegals don't have jobs. They get free housing, cash, healthcare, and education from the UK government. So they could care less about digital IDs. They're not going to work. So why would the UK force this on their citizens? Because it's a way to control your every move, and it's been talked about on a global scale for the last 25 years. Here's what a digital ID is. It's a state-issued credential tied to your identity, often your biometrics and your phone, that you'll need to work, bank, rent a house, travel, and even use services like putting gas in your car. With one flip of a switch, you could be locked out of your money, your job, your travel, even your healthcare. That's not freedom, that's control. Once you normalize digital ID, everything becomes a checkpoint. They can restrict access to your bank account, your movements can be geo-fenced, speech can be punished by cutting off services, and saying the wrong thing, online or in person, can get you blacklisted. And the excuse for all this? We need digital IDs to protect citizens from illegals taking jobs. No, what they needed was the boring, obvious fix. Secure the border, enforce the law, and deport criminals. That's what worked under Trump. You don't take away everyone's freedom to fix your policy failure. If Kamala had won, this is the blueprint they would have tried here too. But Florida isn't playing that game. People moved here for a reason. Safe streets without a surveillance state. And DeSantis has been clear on this. Here's what he said. If digital ID is ever pushed in the US, it'll hit a brick wall in Florida. Thanks, Uncle Ron. And while DeSantis is leading the charge, protecting citizens against illegal criminals, other states are making their citizens live in fear and chaos. In Portland, Oregon, the left-wing group called Antifa has been rioting every day since June. They've taken over streets, blasted air horns all night, spray-painted federal buildings, attacked citizens and federal police, and threatened anyone who tells them to stop. They're targeting immigration and customs enforcement agents, or ICE, and federal facilities they use to detain illegal immigrants. And the Portland Police Department does nothing about it. They've been ordered to stand down. Antifa stands for anti-fascist, but that's not what they are. They're a loose network of far-left extremists who use violence to push politics. They smash windows, burn flags, and attack law enforcement. And they do it through coordinated efforts around the country. Trump officially labeled them a domestic terrorist organization because these people aren't activists, they're anarchists. Night after night, Portland looks like a city under siege. Families are scared to leave their homes, businesses are boarded up, streets are filled with sirens and smoke, and the city leadership, silent. They call it free expression. And just a few days ago in Chicago, ICE agents were in the middle of a standard operation arresting criminal illegals when Antifa rammed their vehicle with 10 of their own cars and boxed them in so they couldn't escape. These are federal officers doing their job, and they're being ambushed in an American city. The ICE agents called 911 and asked for help from Chicago police because they were pinned down. And here's the police dispatch recording of the ranking police officer telling his deputies not to respond.
So the unit's responding to 39th and Place in Kedzie. If you guys can start heading there as quick as you can, and then just hold tight for instructions with 999.
999.
999.
So the chief of patrol clear everybody up. We're not responding over there.
Radio check. And again, per the chief of patrol, we have all the units that per 999. Chief of Patrol said all units clear out from there. We're not sending anybody over to that location.
And here's where it gets even crazier. The governor of Oregon, Tina Kotek, and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker both said they won't support federal police officers trying to arrest illegal criminals. They're siding with mobs instead of law enforcement. California, Minnesota, New York, and Maryland have all said the same thing. This pro-crime nonsense has infected Washington state too for decades. Here's Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell bragging about his soft-on-crime policies.
The criminal system has had a disparate impact on black and brown communities. Let me lead with that. So when this person is committing 6 or 7 crimes, I don't know his or her story. Maybe they were abused as a child. Maybe they're hungry. So my remedy is to find their life story to see how we could help first. I have no desire to put them in jail.
How many crimes would it take to go to jail? 10? 20? Shouldn't the main priority be to protect law-abiding citizens? This is what happens when states stop enforcing the law. Chaos takes over. Criminals run the streets. Innocent people pay the price. But DeSantis don't play that here in Florida.
Florida's not Portland. If you think you can go and launch attacks against ICE agents in this state, you got another thing coming. We will hold you accountable very swiftly and very severely. The people that are working for ICE are being charged with enforcing the laws of the United States of America. You know, we have a process where if you don't like those laws, you can elect people that will try to change those. But what you don't do is take the matters into your own hands and launch attacks against people that are simply doing their job.
And let's be honest, I don't care who you are. Everybody wants the same basic things. Democrats, Republicans, independents, it doesn't matter. People want safe neighborhoods, secure borders, and kids who can walk to school without seeing chaos in the streets. That's not politics, that's common sense. But when you turn on the news, that's not what you see. The media doesn't show the middle, the millions of normal Americans who just want order and accountability. What you see instead are the loudest, most extreme voices. The far-left activists, the defund the police crowd, the professional protesters who seem to show up at every rally with pre-printed signs and brand new megaphones. They don't represent most people, they just get all the airtime. And it's not organic. These groups are well organized and well funded. A lot of their money allegedly flows through NGOs or non-government organizations and so-called nonprofits backed by global billionaires who see chaos as opportunity. You got people like Neville Singh, a businessman based in China with reported ties to the Chinese Communist Party, and of course, George Soros, who's poured billions into social justice initiatives that always seem to leave cities more dangerous and divided. These people are part of a coordinated network that uses protests, media pressure, and social movements to shape politics from the ground up. They fund activist groups, back soft-on-crime district attorneys, and push policies that make cities less safe while pretending it's about equity or compassion. Meanwhile, regular people, the ones who actually live in these cities, are the ones paying the price. Florida figured that out early. DeSantis focused on safety first, strong police support, tough penalties for rioters, strict immigration enforcement, and guess what? People from every political background are moving here because of it. They don't want to live in fear. They want freedom and order. But Florida does have one big issue they need to get rid of. Click here to learn why these Florida teachers are a big problem. This story shows you how deep the problem really goes and how Governor DeSantis is fighting back. Click here and I'll see you there.